But that's okay. Remember, there are no stupid questions, just stupid people.
There are always stupid questions and there are always stupid people, because you want to know why we're the two stupidest ones there are. That's Dom and Tim with NFL Talk from across the pond and back, bringing you week number 5. Dom, how's everything over in the UK? I know, again, it is late, or getting later your time.
We've got the hamsters this week. They're all primed and ready to go. My mate Luke sent me a spare, so we're all good. We're all good and ready for the show this week.
That was a quality text message you sent me about the hamsters, because as those that do not know, over in the UK, the internet is powered by hamster wheels. And Dom's seems to have always meet a early demise as we're streaming. But you know what? He went out. He has a new hamster, Lucky and Biff. They are both running, so we should have at least 1.5 megs of internet. So that'll be enough to get Dom on the show today, and I won't have to vamp for a good 5 minutes again.
I don't know what megs are, but the only thing I can think of when anyone says that is Peter Griffin saying, "Shut up, Meg."
Shut up, Meg. Oh, my goodness. Well, Dom, it is week 5 in the NFL. I think we're finding who the pretenders are. I think we're getting a better idea who the quality teams are. We find out who the garbage teams are. And I'm going to start with the New York Football Giants. I'm just kidding, because Dom said to me, don't start with the Giants. So initially, what do I have to do?
Hey, I did the complete opposite to what anyone tells you.
Of course, because that's just, yeah, because no one ever said I was sane.
Are you crazy? Ow!
Yeah, I'm crazy. What made you think I was sane?
Exactly. So what are we going to say, Dom?
I mean, it was my own stupid fault for telling you to do something, because I should have known. I literally should have said, I think we should start with them, because then we wouldn't have started with them.
I do want to start with a game, and it's and I don't want to delve too far into it. I just think it's a funny game. I want to start with and it's going to be out of the norm. I want to start with the Green Bay Cincinnati game. 5 missed field goals. 2 minutes into the fourth quarter and into overtime. Nobody wanted to win the garbage game. I called it the garbage bowl because it was wide right, it was wide left. It was just one of those things. And you knew the poor kid from Cincinnati was going to miss the kick. You knew it at the time. You just felt bad for him too. Then with Crosby, who looks like he's 497 years old, that gray hair, you just felt like, you know what? Come on, old man, you gotta make this, because you don't want to end this in a tie, because you don't want to miss like 7 field goals. I don't even care about the rest of the game, but 5 missed field goals from 2 minutes into the fourth quarter until overtime. Dom, what kind of game is that?
I mean, have you ever heard of this? Right, this happening in a game? Like,
no,
it wasn't even bad weather, right?
It wasn't. It was a little windy. It was a little windy.
Yeah, but not horrific. Not like, it's not like it was a gale force winds, right?
No.
I mean, he just got the yips, right? I mean, that's what they have in golf, right? The yips.
I don't know what the hell they had. They had the misses.
I mean, all I know is I'm trying out for their special teams.
We need to.
I might make a roster. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Did you see the? Did you see these games?
Press?
What's that?
Kickers wanted, like big posters, like, can you kick the ball 20 yards accurately? Don't have to worry about longer than that. What does that do? We just need anyone that can kick a ball.
Well, you got a lot of guys in soccer, so I mean, they should be able to kick. I'm sorry, I'm throwing a shoe at the dog.
I was going to say, was it an accurate throw?
No, it was well. She moved.
Or were you reenacting the kicks?
I was reenacting the kick for you. That's why we have to do this on YouTube. But Dom, come on. You're Green Bay. You're Mr. Discount Double Check. You're in Cincinnati, and you can't beat this team.
Well, I have a theory about the kicker. I think he also thinks Green Bay is icky and was trying to get his way off the team.
Yeah, well, Mason Crosby's been on that team forever.
Like, Aaron, this is how you do it, mate. This is how it goes.
I don't know, man. It was, we don't even need to talk about the game, because that's just how bad it was.
No, I mean, 2 quick reflections on the game. One, I think the Bengals are going in the right direction. I think if they concentrate on building their line, then they're a team that will be much improved next year. And I think they're improved this year on last year. But I actually had a question for you about Green Bay's long term. Right, Aaron Rodgers wants out. Right. He probably goes this summer. Devontae Adams is in his last year. Mm-hmm. What does the future for Green Bay look like? Seriously, I mean, what do you think they will do this offseason? I mean, it's a long way to go yet. They will still have ambitions to go to the Super Bowl, and they shouldn't necessarily be focusing on next year yet. But it's Brian Gutekunst, or whatever his name is, job to start thinking about that now. What is he thinking? How is he going to try and rectify this or keep these guys for next year?
In a word, icky.
You can't.
It's icky. It's going to get icky in Green Bay because, Mr. Discount Double Check is gone. Devontae Adams is going to be gone. You're going to be going. You hope the kid they got on the roster now is the quarterback of the future.
Are they feeling the love? We will find out.
Jordan Love. No, I don't think they're feeling love. I couldn't even think of his name. That's how much I don't like him. I think after this year it's going to be.
How can you not like him? We've not seen him.
Well, that's why I don't like him. If he was so good, he should have beat out Aaron Rodgers. What the hell is his problem?
Yeah, it's not like Aaron Rodgers is a quality quarterback. It's an easy one to come past.
Listen, there's Daniel Jones and there's Aaron Rodgers. Okay, and no one can see what I'm doing right now because again, we're not on YouTube.
I think we can all work it out. But seriously, I mean, they do have they start to enter not a full rebuild, but certainly a refresh they're going to need. Next
I think
year.
they're going to a rebuild.
Their best player's gone.
I think they're going to a rebuild. I think they're going full rebuild.
Maybe
that's. Maybe. I mean, that's my opinion. I think after the season, it's going to have to be stripped down. You're going to have cap space issues, and you're going to have to rebuild.
Hopefully, for their sake, they will acknowledge it because they haven't had to rebuild really for 300 years after they went.
Well, they always
two franchise quarterbacks in a row.
They haven't really retooled. I mean, the rebuild. They always retool, but I think now it is time to rebuild. That's my.
I think. I mean, time will tell, but I think that is a legitimate possibility. It's why I asked the question. I was like, they are going to have a big refresh / a rebuild. I think that's absolutely right.
I think that's definitely where they're going on. Now we want to jump into a fun game and a good game, and that's going to be the New York Football Giants. No, I'm just kidding again. We're not getting to the Giants game. We're going to go to my favorite team, 5-0 Arizona Cardinals. Take out the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. No, excuse me. They were in what's called. They were at home against. They beat Trey Lance.
They won on the road last week in division.
That's right. I keep getting
pulled it up again.
They beat Trey Lance. 17-10. Kyler Murray comes up big when it counts. Defense held Trey Lance to 10 points. Did you see the stop at the 1 yard line that Trey Lance basically looked like he ran into a brick wall?
I didn't see it. No, I mean, it was my wife's birthday yesterday, so I didn't see any of the games. Although on the West Coast, obviously, it would have to be today. I watched it, but I didn't get a chance.
Well, happy birthday, Mrs. Duca Funk.
Yeah, she had a lovely day.
Did you get her something funky?
No, of course I didn't. Don't be daft. Do I look? I'm the last of the romantics, right? Every day is just like a holiday and a breath of fresh air when you're married to me. What more could she ask for? Apart from
a divorce. I'm sorry, that just came out wrong.
Once in a while, maybe a nice holiday, those sorts of things. But some jewelry, that sort of stuff. But who needs that when you've got me?
Stuff like that. But with just having you don't need anything else.
That's my take on it. I think she might have a different take, but thankfully she's not on this podcast, so we will never know.
and I would just like to send out a big happy birthday wish to Mrs. Duca Funk. I'm sorry your husband is cheap. I apologize for that right now.
I can't even come back on that because it's true.
Let's get into this game, though. Trey Lance's first NFL start. And like I said, he basically ran into a brick wall on 4th and goal in the second quarter. The Arizona defense, he literally, when he put his head down, a la Daniel Jones, he didn't
get concussed.
He did not get concussed, but he looked like it reminded me of like the old Roadrunner cartoon when the coyote just runs into the brick wall and his legs splatter and stick up. That's what it looked like for poor Trey Lance. I give him credit, though. Like I said, he hung in there in the game. It's his first start. Was it a great performance by him? No, but again, he's a rookie. It has to, and this is my question to you. Has the Trey Lance era now going to start being into full effect? Or when Jimmy G comes back, do you think he's gonna ride the pine a little bit? Because the defense for San Francisco is a quality defense. Yeah,
and you saw it there. Look, they held that free-scoring Arizona to 17 points.
Mm-hmm.
I think firstly on the Cardinals, I think you're starting to look right. I still want to see what happens when they lose a couple of games, but they don't look like losing it at the moment. They're 5-0 and they're beating quality teams, and that was what I was saying early on. They've not come against quality teams. They have now 2 weeks running, and they've won them both in division, one on the road, one at home. Kudos to them. They're playing well. They look like they're going to be a playoff team, to be fair, and I got that one wrong. As for the 49ers, I thought they would, if they stayed healthy, I thought they would be the playoff team. They've done what they always do and not stay healthy. But in terms of your question about Lance, you're exactly right. He looked as you'd expect him to look as a rookie. He was inaccurate, but he's still raw. I think they probably still got a quarterback there that has the potential to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, but I think it will take a while. But in terms of, does Jimmy G come back in or do they ride Trey Lance? I think it depends on where they are. I don't think Trey Lance will play overly different to how he played this week in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I think he will continue to be inconsistent. But if they still think they're in with a chance and they're still in contention to get the playoffs, then I think they probably do go back to Jimmy G, because I think he gives you a better chance of going to the playoffs. But but maybe they go, do you know what? Trey Lance is our future and it's not Jimmy G, so we'll stick with him. But I suspect they still think Jimmy G is a starter there if he can get back. But he's going to have to get back quickly.
So this could be potentially another Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick situation.
Possibly.
Great answer.
I mean,
this is a podcast, right? You actually have to speak.
I paused because I hadn't really thought about it like that.
That's why they paid me the big bucks.
I don't have celebrity friends like you. But yeah, possibly. We'll see. We've seen Trey Lance come out in packages as well. Maybe they go back to that. I think it would be an interesting one for Kyle Shanahan, but I think he probably suspects that Garoppolo is my starter for this year, and we continue to develop Trey Lance and see where he comes up. And we don't overuse him and don't overexpose him unless we have to. But, he gets paid a lot more than I do and is a lot more knowledgeable in the NFL. So I will trust him to make the right decision for his team and his quarterback.
Right.
But if I was him, I'd be looking for the long term and doing what's best for Trey Lance, which may not be playing, but do what's best for the long term for Trey Lance would be, I suspect, where he will go.
All right. I want to jump into a game which is on your side of the pond. The New York Jets against the Atlanta Falcons. Kind of a stinker till kind of towards the end.
Is anyone shocked by that?
I was shocked, man, because I thought the Jets were going to roll. I thought the Jets were going to just knock them out. I did love the fact that Kyle Pitts had 9 catches for 119 and a touchdown. Is he good, or is it just the Jets? It was a game, if you watched it, and I watched some of it. The Falcons were up 20-3, I think, going into halftime. The Jets came back.
They scored 17 points before the Jets managed to even get a first down.
Yeah, and then they came back, with the big score for 17-27. It was a 4-minute drive, and then the Jets kicked the field goal with 2 minutes left. I mean, it was a typical. The game wasn't even close. The game was ugly. But did you have any feel for the game, or was there any buzz or excitement on your side of the pond with Jets Falcons?
The game is not the ideal one you see coming to London. You had the Bills Chiefs this week. That would have been nice. Mm-hmm. Arizona 49ers.
That would have been good too.
That would have been, it wasn't the best game in the world, but, 2 big teams. Right. That would have been nice.
You got the Jets and the Falcons.
We got the Jets and the Falcons. Both of which should be, soaring, judging by their names.
In all fairness, Sister Mary of the Poor Orphanage was not available to play. So that's why they had to go Jets-Falcons.
But, it was good to have it back in London. And I know there was a buzz around the game. I mean, you expect the buzz. It's becoming bigger in this country. We love sport in this country as a general rule. We'd watch Tiddlywinks if it was on, Sky Sports.
I think that's on ESPN4 here.
Well, good to know. Good to know. It'd probably be on BBC Sport here, judging by the fact that we have almost no coverage on BBC Sport anymore. When I was growing up, it used to be like grandstand on a Saturday afternoon, literally 12 till 5 right the way through. Now it's pretty much non-existent. You get Antiques Roadshow or secondhand antiques celebrities that you've never heard of instead. But anyway, I digress and rant because I don't have the satellite coverage to get the games.
I'm sorry. What the hell are we talking about now? You
anyway,
totally lost me.
Back to the late game. There was definitely someone that I work with isn't an NFL fan, and he was like, "Wow, the game's on." Like, he lives relatively close to the stadium. He's like, I'm half an hour away, and he's like, the noise, the atmosphere, I can hear. I know it's on. I'm just seeing people around and about, just in NFL shirts. And the buzz for the city and that stadium, I've talked about it before, is just amazing. And it's a shame that it got that.
Now, what stadium were they in?
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's literally opened last year to no crowd whatsoever because of COVID, not because of the football team being a bit sucky.
And what town is this? Sounds like
it's in London.
Oh, it is in London. I thought it was next to the Willy Wonka factory because I was like, I've never even heard of this. True story. My parents were away in England on holiday, and they were due to go somewhere. Where they were due to ride something, and they couldn't ride it because it's closed for the filming of the Willy Wonka film. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, well, for my parents, I doubt it.
Well, yeah, it was funny. They said, we were talking about celebrities DMing me, and your parents DM'd me and told me you were cheap.
My dad would be proud of this fact.
He actually was.
But they wouldn't know what Twitter or DMing is, so I know that's not true. But yeah, look,
the worst part is you even thought that was true. That would even be funnier.
But there was a buzz around it, and you know what? At least it was a game where there wasn't a blowout one side or the other. At least it was a competitive game right the way to the end. But the Falcons, Carl Pitts, hopefully this will be the start for him. Now he's got that sort of first big good game under his belt. Matt Ryan, he's cool as anything, isn't he? He just led that team, didn't panic.
No,
kudos to the Jets for coming back, but they weren't reliant on their quarterback to bring him back. And, we've talked about Wilson before. I think this again just shows where he's at. I know he's a rookie, but it's what he's got up here in between his ears that worries me. And again, it was there. There's plenty of time. He's 5 games into his career, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I like that better. I want to talk about the Chicago Bears against the Las Vegas Raiders. Bears 20-9 in Las Vegas. Justin Fields wrecking the Giant fans' dreams of 2 high first-round draft choices.
Did you see my face as soon as you mentioned it? Like they won.
I did. I did. That's why I wanted to. That's why I was like, let me bring this up. I mean, he did not have a great game, 12 for 20 for 111 yards and a touchdown, but he did what he was supposed to do. He held on to the ball. He turned around and handed off to Herbert and Williams. And then the Bears defense took over. They got
the ball without Montgomery,
Yeah. I was actually very shocked by that.
Yeah, we I said it last week. How well will they run the ball without Montgomery? I'm dubious, but hey, this week they did.
They ran for over 150 yards.
Yeah, which is not to be sniffed at.
No, without Montgomery, and I think it's one of those games that it's kind of like what we think about with Mac Jones and the Patriots. You want to play good defense, and you have your quarterback manage the game and not hurt you, and that's what Justin Fields has now done 2 weeks in a row.
In a different way to Mac Jones, but yes, he has. This was at the time 2-2 Bears going against the 3-1 Raiders in Vegas, and so this is arguably a signature win, an early signature win. I don't think he's not beaten the Bills or the Rams or the Bucks, but the Raiders have started the season well, and this won't have hurt his confidence in any way, shape, or form.
You want to laugh,
and it's hurt our future draft pick.
You want to laugh as a Giant fan, though.
No, I mean, we need one.
You want to laugh? Okay. Justin Fields has now beat 2 teams with winning records in 5 games. It took Daniel Jones 3 years to beat a team with a winning record.
Yeah, thanks. That's cheers me up immensely. That, along with watching our draft pick get lower and lower as the weeks combine. But there is 2 things from this game really quickly, which I'm capable of your view on. One, and it's more of a statement than anything else. Did you see Fields' stats though when they got the rush at him and how he dealt with it? Because he's meant to be a dynamic quarterback, and I think he will be, and I think he will learn. So I'm not concerned. But did you see his stats for the game?
No, I did not see the stats.
He was 1 from 5 for 9 yards when they got pressure anywhere near him. But what I do think is that this is going to be a really good learning experience for him, because I think he's got the athleticism to deal with that once he gets.
I agree.
The NFL
I'm not concerned about
that. So I'm not concerned, but that just shows where he's going to be, that he can throw the ball when there's no pressure. And we all probably think he will be able to do so once he gets acclimatized to the NFL properly.
Well, Daniel Jones can only throw the ball when there's no pressure. And he's the quarterback messiah in New York.
I mean, of the two quarterbacks in New York right now, he is the better one. But, that's a bit like saying I'm taller than a 5-year-old.
Are you?
Just.
Okay, I wanted to double check with that.
But the other thing of the Raiders is that, I mean, they've had should we call it a challenging end to the week?
I don't want to get into the Jon Gruden.
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
I don't want to get. Yes, it was a challenging week, but I think.
But how do you think that's going to affect the locker room there?
I don't think it affects the locker room at all. Be honest, because it was something that happened in 2011, and I can tell you from firsthand experience for working for Jon Gruden, he says things and. I never heard him say anything to the point that he said in the emails. I never heard him once utter that when he was the head coach at Tampa for the 2 seasons I was there. But he's got a mouth. He would make a sailor blush. I mean, I always joke, and I've joked to you about it before.
He has no filter, right?
No filter, and to a point where my first year there, I thought my name was Tim. What the F? Because that's how he referred to me about everything. And it was funny because Warren Sapp, it was his last season, my first season there, and I was funny that because I was only been with the club for a couple of weeks, and I was getting yelled at, and we were at the Celebration Hotel in Celebration, Florida, where they had their training camp, because they had it at the Wide World Sports Complex in Disney. And it was funny that because I was getting yelled at, and Warren Sapp actually walked by with Chris Sims, and it was Chris Sims' rookie season. And Warren stopped and looked at me, and he just started smiling. You've ever seen Warren Sapp? He's got a great smile. He's got this big ass smile. He just looks like he's always happy. And he just looked at me and he said, "Dude, you're in so much trouble." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Because he knows your name." And then I laughed because I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, your name isn't Tim. What the F?" I was like, "Oh my God."
I mean, as surnames go, that would be a cool surname.
Yeah, I didn't want it.
Agree. I do agree. I think there is a difference here in the Gruden situation and the Meyer situation in terms of the impact on that team going forward. Not necessarily what they did or didn't do. That's not for me to comment. But I think, the Raiders are still winning games, even though they're 3-2, which is not a surprise necessarily, because I thought they were overachieving at the start. The Jags aren't, but again, not a surprise. I think Meyer has to prove himself at the NFL level. Gruden, while he's never going to be the most elite coach in the world, has at least proved himself at the NFL level, and I think that will probably talk more in the locker room, ultimately.
Exactly. And he's got the Super Bowl ring to back it up. So, all right. I want to get into this. Dallas Cowboys 44, New York Giants 20. You know what? And the score, it does not even indicate this game wasn't even this close. The Dallas Cowboys had 104 yards rushing in the first quarter alone. We'll get into the injuries in a minute, but they had 104 yards rushing in the first quarter alone, over 500 yards in total offense. The Giants defense, which was the linchpin last season, is in total disarray. And everyone that knows, Online Big Blue, Sports Entertainment, go watch my podcast. I had been extolling the fact that the Giants needed 2 linebackers and 2 defensive ends, because I said it a million times since the Cleveland preseason game: off tackle right, off tackle right, off tackle left, busted up the gut. And that's all they did. At one point, even Troy Aikman said during the broadcast, if I was the Cowboys, I would never throw the ball. At one point, the Cowboys were only up 10-0 when it should have been like 21-0, because Dak had the bad interception and the bad fumble. And then the Giants came back and scored. And of course, Daniel Jones got hurt leading with his helmet. And I said this on one of my shows the other day. You lead the team, but you never lead with your helmet. And that's the first thing that he did. That's the first thing they teach you.
Unless you're Miles Garrett. That's a different kind of. That's a
different kind of leading thing. Than Mason Rudolph better duck. But I mean, it's a debacle, Dom. We're 1-4. Saquon Barkley's out. His ankle looked like a balloon. They're saying 2 to 4 weeks now. I'm saying with the MRI, the X-ray comes back. I'm thinking more like 4 to 6, if not more than that. Daniel Jones is in a concussion protocol. He could be out 4 weeks. He could be out 9. Excuse me. He could be out 9 weeks. Kenny Galladay has a hyperextended knee. I mean, it's and you know what the funny thing is? The whole blame.
I'm glad you can find something funny about it.
I could find it funny. The whole blame for all this for Giant fans.
Jason Garrett, right?
Jason Garrett. He called the play that got Daniel Jones hurt. But then I love it because Giant fans have been screaming to have Daniel Jones run the ball more. So Jason Garrett can't win to save his life. I mean, he run the ball more, the guy gets hurt, and it's all Jason Garrett's fault. I know you had something to say about this game, but this team is a fiasco. This team is a disgrace. Kadarius Toney has a career day, 10 catches for 189 yards, and then he takes a punch at a guy at the end of the game. He gets thrown out of the game. There's potentially coming a suspension. And then people are like, well, he's defending his teammate. And there's something I've always said, and I said in another video.
I don't care if he was defending his teammate.
I don't care if you don't. The first thing you learn in playing football, even in Pop Warner when you're like 9, don't be the last guy to throw the punch because that is the guy that always gets the flag. And I guess he never learned that in Pop Warner. I don't want to rant about it anymore because I spent 2.5 hours on a live stream ranting about it yesterday. So I'm gonna let you tell me something. Tell me something good. Tell me something that the Giants did well. I mean, at one point, someone in my stream yesterday asked me, you know, what was good about this? And I started saying, the sun will come out tomorrow, because there's always next week. But I'm tired of saying, as a Giant fan, there's always next week. Talk me down, Dom. Talk me down.
What we do with 5 weeks down, only 13 to go.
That's not talking me down. That's not talking me down.
Look,
the good news is I used a lot of this after the game.
I can imagine.
We were good.
For those that can't see it, it's a bottle that should be in a brown paper bag if you're going to drink it outside.
That's Grand Marnier, man. That's no brown paper bag. That's expensive. That's a 150-year-old bottle of Grand Marnier. I only use that when I have really bad headaches.
I mean, where do you look? Let's quickly start with the Cowboys. Coming into the season, we both thought that the offense was legitimate, no question, top 5, certainly top 10, but probably top 5 offense. It was the defense. It was an unknown. It was the if. It was
the secondary that was the if. I always said the front 7 would be good. It is the secondary. Yeah, I think that's fair. And look, Diggs is probably overperforming right now with, I think, 6 interceptions now, or did he get 2 yesterday? I think it was just 1, wasn't it? It's performing well. It's going to take the East. It deserves to take the East, the Cowboys, no question. Do I think it's a Super Bowl team? I want to see them come up against better teams again before we start saying that. I think it's probably a bit too early, but credit to them. They are playing really well. They won the game yesterday. They deserved to win the game yesterday. They could have won it by 40. And they are the best team in the East right now. And they're a team that will go to the playoffs not because they've won a poor division. They will go to the playoffs because they deserve to go to the playoffs. Right. So I think let's just start with that and just say that's that. And well done to the Cowboys, no question. They left points on the board and still won handsomely. In terms of Toney, I think that was his best game. It's a rookie record for the Giants. He needs to score some touchdowns now, but it was a good game for him. But he's a complete moron. You can't go and hit players, whatever the provocation. And going back to Joe Judge and the summer where we had the big bust up and you had them running laps, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. We're clearly not learning for discipline, but he clearly can't even learn from that. I would imagine they got an absolute dressing down for that. And it happens. These fights happen, but he's not learning. He is a knucklehead. He's got talent. He's probably got more talent than I maybe thought he did, but he's got to score touchdowns. He's got to stop being stupid. That's my views on Toney, but I have views on defense, the offense, and the future. So I will be quick, if that's all right. Go for it.
The defense was our big hope going into the year. Secondary should have been one of the best secondaries in the league. it has been absolutely hopeless. It's not helped by the fact we have no edge whatsoever. Ojolari, it's his rookie season. Let's give him a bit of a break. He's going to need to learn. I not too worried about him, but who else is supporting him? It's too easy to play. The league's figured out Graham. Graham, we said it, you said it, like repeatedly, has to adapt the defense from last year, and it hasn't happened. And I think a lot of Giants fans, myself included, were caught out by, maybe a bit carried away by how good our defense was last year. And it was top 10, or it might have been 11, but it was a good defense last year. It's not been this year. And that's what's losing us games right now. I think the offense has taken a step forward. And I am sick and tired of Jason Garrett getting an absolute berating from Giants fan because he's a former Cowboys. But forget it. Jason Garrett, for me, is behind Daniel Jones' improvement. He has improved. Do I think he's an NFL franchise starter? He's a starter for a poor end, bottom end of division team, not top end. He's not going to win you championships. He's not going to win you Super Bowls. He's a poor man starter, good team's backup, right? That's where he is. But a lot of it's Garrett, because I think he has schemed for it. He has schemed to try and take or limit Daniel Jones' limitations. And he has started to open up the playbook as players became available and as we got more acclimatized to each other. Now he's going to have an issue. He's going to lose his three biggest weapons. In Jones is our best quarterback, Barkley's our best running back, Golladay's our best wide receiver. He's lost all three in one game. That can't be helped. He's going to have to rethink it now. But you can guarantee next week against the Rams, we will probably struggle to put up points because we're missing our three best offensive players, and it will be down to him. And it's ridiculous. It's wrong. It is not down to him. Has he made mistakes? Sure. But come on, that's where I am with the defense and offense.
Well, it's funny though. To your point, last time I checked, I did not see Jason Garrett call any defensive plays.
No, and you can see how he's trying to build the offense and trying to build in more week on week. And there wasn't a lot of game time between Jones and Golladay preseason. Barkley was coming back from injury. Tony forgot his bloody cleats every training session, had to play barefoot, when he wasn't out getting COVID and having other issues. It was always going to take time to click. Like Golladay said it preseason that it would take time to click. And it was starting to with the Saints last week. That we were lucky not to get more interceptions yesterday, first half.
There should have been at least three.
Because obviously it's one of the game. It was too late really for me, my time, and it was my wife's birthday, so I didn't see any of the game at all yesterday. But I did catch some this evening, just as best I could to catch up. But it has improved the offense, and he's not the issue right now. But you asked about shining lights, right? I don't know where it is. I really don't. I mean, maybe that's someone texting you to tell you where the shining light is. But if I look at the teams, if I'm the Lions, I think we're keeping games close. We have got a quarterback who I don't necessarily rate in golf, but has been to a Super Bowl. He is at least doing something. And we know we're a poor team, and we're at least competing. And I'm not saying the Giants aren't competing, but this was supposed to be a season we went over the top. Right. You look at the Jags and you go, we've got Lawrence, and the rest of the team might be terrible, but we know that. But we've started to be able to run the ball with Robinson, and we've got our first round pick on running back to come back in, from injury hopefully next year and do something. We've got Lawrence. There's something there. You look at the Texans, you go, Deshaun Watson's never playing for them again, but we've got those picks to come back. We will trade him at some point, and we will get lots of picks to rebuild the team. There are shining lights. I don't know where it is for us because we have no cap space next year. Nope. We're in cap hell. And we've got too many holes. I just don't know where. I don't know where the shining light is. We said it last week, but it was probably a false dawn. But let's enjoy it. And here we are. Seriously, where's the shining light for us? I don't know.
Well, to be perfectly honest, Tom, that didn't make me feel any better. that made me feel kind of worse.
I'm not. I haven't.
I was looking to feel better about myself, and now I'm looking for a cliff.
I know. I mean, the only shining light coming out of that game was that was Tony, and then he went and
went stupid.
That shining light straight out.
And the thing with Tony is, and I'm not going to keep repeating it, but you don't do stuff like that. I mean, that is something that you just don't do. I mean, I don't even know what would cross your mind to even do that.
You just got to have one first, presumably.
Oh, that's not nice.
I mean,
it must be late your time because you're getting saucy.
But I mean, seriously though, is there a shining light that you can see right now? And this is not because we lost one game.
Is there a shining light right now? Right this moment, like within the next 30 seconds.
Well, there is in your room because it's an interrogation room. But
shut up. Oh my goodness, is there a shining light? No. Let's just leave it at that. No, there's not a shining light. There's not a beacon or you know what the problem is? We're in a dark tunnel and we see a light at the end, but the only problem is that light's a train
coming.
That's the only problem we have. And it's the next 5 games that we're running into, like Mahomes and the Rams and Tom Brady. I mean, it's just and the win that I thought we were going to get again. The second one was November 22nd against the Eagles, and the Eagles won He won yesterday.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm not even 100%.
Let's be honest. The Panthers lost. The Eagles didn't win.
Well, yeah, but but you know what? They still won the game.
They won the game. They had 2-3.
That's it. They won the game. The Panthers did lose the game, but the Eagles did win the game. And I don't even have that one circled anymore as a win. So I don't even know where the next win is coming from. I have no idea. And
we got week 1 next year.
You know, we what are we right now? We're 1-4.
We're 1-4. Yeah.
So since the preseason, we're 1-7.
Yeah.
Chew on that for a minute. Let's jump into the Philadelphia Eagles.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to a better team, the 2-3 Philadelphia Eagles, who took out the Carolina Panthers, the 3-2 Carolina Panthers. To your point, I think more the Panthers lost this game than the Eagles won it. But you know what? A win is a win. And you kind of want to say that about the Giants. Jalen Hurts, 22 of 37 for 198, did have the bad interception. You know, I don't know what else to say about this game, but to your point, I think it was more of the implosion by the Panthers than it was the talent of the Eagles. But you know, it's the NFL. Sometimes you win games you shouldn't win, sometimes you lose games you shouldn't lose, and sometimes you're just the Eagles.
Look, yeah, I mean, you know, for me, I think the Panthers could rue this. I don't think Darnold will play. That was a bit of a blip, I think, for Darnold.
I was going to say, do you think it's the Darnold of old coming back, or do you think it's just kind of a blip on the radar?
No, I think it's a blip. Okay. I mean, maybe I'll be wrong, but I think he's played really well so far this year. I think they're still missing McCaffrey. I think he is a big miss for them. He takes a lot of pressure off Darnold. Maybe he's trying to do too much without Christian McCaffrey there. You know, maybe he felt I've got to show I can win games without players around him. I think that what I do think the Panthers need to do, if they're to back me up on my faith in them, is win at least 2 of the next 3. But when I look at the fixture, I'm just looking at them now. It's Vikings, Giants, and Falcons. I think 2 from 3 is very doable for them.
Right.
You know, so I still think that they'll be a 1 and out in the playoff team. If they miss out, they're going to be close. But the Eagles, you know, they found a way to win when they really shouldn't have.
See, the problem is we're just jealous.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We're jealous. I'm jealous.
I'm pretty much jealous of any team right now. You know, I mean, I'm not sure there's many teams I'd want to not be, you know, right now. I mean, actually, I have one, but only because I just don't care. But even they're winning more games than them, but I just don't care. I have no care for that team in the world. But, you know, apart from that, I'm struggling. But yeah, fair play to the Eagles and Panthers. I think they need to bounce back, but I think they will.
I don't even care. Because it's the Eagles. I want to jump into the Pittsburgh Steelers 27-19 over the Denver Broncos. Did you know the Broncos was a team I literally have like shrug emoji about, because that was the team I was talking about. That's why I was jumping in there. I think we all kind of wrote off Big Ben. I think we may have buried the body before the autopsy was done to make sure it wasn't still breathing. 15 to 25, 253, 2 touchdowns. Had the nice one to Juju Schuster. or not Juju Schuster. Who did he had the touchdown to? Yeah, it was Schuster. He had that nice catch.
Before he got hurt, yeah.
Yeah, before he got hurt. And he had the one to, what's his name? Claypool. No, it wasn't Schuster. It was Claypool. He had that touchdown pass.
He had two, didn't he? He had two.
Yeah, he had one to
and
he had one to Johnson, and he had one to Claypool, because Claypool had 5 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown. He was only targeted 6 times. I mean, I'm not jumping on. First of all, I never fell off the Pittsburgh bandwagon, but I'm not jumping on it again. I'm the wagon's kind of dragging me behind. I still think that the offense needs to figure out the running game. I think it was a good win, and Najee Harris had a good game, 23 carries for 122 and a touchdown. That has to be more than an aberration. It has to we need some longevity over the next 6-7 weeks for him to do this over and over again. Denver, I still think, is a good team. They just had a bad game. But, I mean, can I say that Pittsburgh is back on track? No, I can't. Because, like I said, I think with Pittsburgh, it's going to be week to week.
Yeah. I think I said beforehand, them and the Saints will be around 500. One will probably be slightly better than the other. I think the Steelers' defense is still there. I think we have buried Ben. And for me, I think not rightly, that's harsh. I think he's had a good career, but I think he is done. He had a really good game this week, but I think that's going to be more of the exception than the rule. But the Steelers ran the ball, and they ran the ball well, and lo and behold, they won. But you're right, they need to do that more consistently. I think the line is, a lot of change on the line. I think that will get better as the season goes on. But I think the Steelers are going to regret not moving on from Big Ben. I still hold that view. Nothing has changed for me in terms of that. As for the Broncos, I think that probably their overall record is about right for them. But they're just a team that I just don't know what they are. I don't know. I don't. There's nothing to excite me about the Broncos at all. I just don't know what to make of them. And, they're just one of those teams that I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. They won, they lost. I don't care. There's nothing there that sort of makes me think, yeah, I really want to talk about them. But the Steelers, for me, that they didn't teach me anything new. I never thought they were going to go 1-16, whatever they were after last week. I think they'd be 7-10 at worst. They'd be good for some weeks before the other. And Big Ben, this is his last hurrah.
Is he going to say hurrah? This is my last hurrah! Hurrah!
Yeah, he's going to do it. He's going to do it like the London clock.
That's a very old. That's a very bad old.
Hurrah.
That's a very old bad joke. Oh my goodness!
I think we were talking about different things there, but I was enjoying myself.
I know you were, and that's why I'm moving on.
Probably sensible.
I want to talk about the Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Bills 38-20. There's a reason why I want to talk about this game. There's a reason. There's a gleam, man. There's a gleam. No, sorry, that was from a different video. There's a reason. His name is Mr. 305. 4 tackles, a sack, and an interception. Gregory Rousseau, the guy that I wanted the Giants to draft so badly, and everyone told me he is not athletic. Did you see the interception?
How is he not athletic?
Did you?
Who the hell told you he's not athletic?
Everyone,
he's a freaking bulldozer.
And they said
the question was he was raw, and could he translate it to the NFL?
Everyone said he was. There was other giant YouTubers that said he's not athletic, and I kept saying he is athletic, and I said he's going to grow into his body, and I've said this I don't know how many times, but that interception alone was awesome. He's got 18 tackles right now, 3 sacks. And an interception in 5 games, and he's playing sparingly. Could he have fit on the Giants on a defensive end position that we needed? And I also loved it because people are like, he can only play the interior. Well, he's been playing the outside a little bit here. Did you die?
I mean,
you still there?
Yeah. You did. I did lose you for a second then, but yeah. Look, I mean, who the hell? The question about him coming in was, he's raw. Can he translate it? Is he a bit of a developmental pick? And that was a question of where he went. Right, it was like, who's going to rate him highly enough? Not for the here and now.
Oh, excuse me, I
but
did.
He's hit the ground running. And I certainly wouldn't want to be the ground when he is running. But yeah, the Bills played really, really well. Funny enough, I can't remember if I said this to you, but I thought they might take the AFC this year. ironically, because I thought the Chiefs might struggle for that offensive line to gel, and that might take some time. But the Chiefs struggles on the other side of the ball massively.
Right.
And I just thought the Bills were the most complete team in the AFC.
They're showing it.
Yeah, and at the moment they are killing it. And I think the Chiefs are going to come in with a lot of criticism this week. That defense is got to be one of the worst in the NFL right now. I still think they'll make the playoffs. What I don't think they are right now, unless they sort it out, is a Super Bowl team. But I don't think you can write them off with Andy Reid, Mahomes. They've still got the weapons. They've still got the ability. And I think the criticism is going to be long and harsh, and we shouldn't overdo it this week. But I think we said it last week on the podcast. They need to sort that defense out, and they still need to sort that defense out. They're giving up 7 yards a snap at the moment.
Seven yards
a play.
7 yards.
That's nearly first down every time you snap the ball.
I'm sorry. I am watching repeatedly the Gregory Rousseau interception. He basically slaps the ball out of the air and then picks it up and picks it off and runs it himself. Well, he didn't run. He didn't get very far. I was like, oh, that kid. And he did it again from the defensive edge position. He was not playing in the interior line. Just that's for you Giant fans.
But I mean, what do you make of the Chiefs? I mean, the Bills, I think, we all thought preseason.
I think the Chiefs
would they take the FC? Yes or no? I don't think anyone thought they're not making the conference game.
With this defense right now, I have no clue. With this defense, it's going to be hit or miss. I know Spags has got Steve Spagnuolo has a very complicated defense. He's got some rookies that are playing. He's trying to be an integral part of the team. It reminds me of the 2007 Giants that got blown out early and a bunch of times because of the fact that the Spagnuolo defense is a complicated defense. I think he needs to try to help integrate some of his younger guys and kind of see what happens from there. And at this point in time, I think if that happens, I think you got a good linebacker, Nick Bolton. I think they can turn around. I still think they're going to be favorites in the division, but unless something gives right now and they keep giving up points like this, it's going to be a long season. I don't care what Mahomes does; it's going to be a long season in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they will improve, and I think they will make the playoffs. The issue is they're not going to. The road to Super Bowl won't go through Arrowhead this year, and they're going to have to win on the road. And you'd still back them to win a shootout, but you can't win every game as a shootout.
No.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think they will get better through the season. They're just going to have to do it from. Ironically, they're going to have to do it from behind.
yeah, and that's gonna be what it is, though. I don't want to jump into the Tampa game because it's 45-17. There was. It's
what is going on in Miami?
There's nothing to see there. I'm not even going to talk about Miami. Miami.
We talked about it before, and there's still no answers.
Yeah, there's no answers. I'm not going to talk about the Saints.
Coach Flores.
I'm not going. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to talk about the Saints whooping up on the Washington team 33-11 because it's really not even anything to talk about. But I do want to talk about. I want to jump into the last game. That's New England taking out Houston, and again, it's not a game I really want to talk about because it's the Houston Texans, but it is 25-22. It's a game that you have to win as a Parcells team, as a Belichick team with the young rookie quarterback. I mean, I think Mac Jones, he is what he is. He was 27-30 for 231, a touchdown and interception. He kept the ball rolling. He came up when he had to. He came up like 7-up when he had to. The defense, I think, needs to get a little bit better because you can't give up 22 points to the Texans. If you have any
third choice quarterback,
with David Mills, who was 21-29 for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. What I mean is the Patriot. I'm not worried about the offense, but is the Patriot defense?
No, they left points on the board there as well with that.
Yeah, but is the Patriot defense? We talk about the Kansas City defense. Is the Patriot defense going to figure something out?
Well, I mean, they've got a rush in Judon, who's got something like 6, 7, 8 sacks this year. He's got a few sacks this year. But yeah, I mean, the defense was the big sort of white hope coming into the season, and it's why I thought they'd come second in this division and go to the playoffs. I still don't think you rule that out. The Patriots historically under Belichick start slow and get better. But I think they'll need to and will put in a lot of work on that defense to improve that. But I'm not overly worried about them. I think they're kind of unfortunate to have the record they have. In many ways, I think it could easily be the other way around. But yeah, they won this game. They had to win this game. They should have won this game comfortably going in. Who thought it was going to be this close? But they won the game. And you said it as well, Mac Jones, this is what he is. He's a game manager. I don't think his ceiling is going to be much higher than we're seeing now. It will improve a bit as all rookies improve, or most rookies improve. But you have to give him kudos. He threw the ball accurately and well when he had to. Everyone knew he had to throw the ball, and he did. Right. And they got there. And that's encouraging. I'm not concerned about the Patriots. I think they will roughly be where we thought they'd be preseason, somewhere around the 10-7 mark. They'll go to the playoffs. They won't go deep. But it was a Belichick win in many ways. They won when they had to win, and they won not playing well. And that should be something that people should take note of. They are winning games when not playing well again, which they haven't done for a little while.
Draft, baby. Yeah.
And we're going to be closing out that segment, bringing you to the new segment, what I like to refer to as the Dom Explosion. Dom always closes out the show with his wonderful final thoughts, his ability to reach into that magical bag of questions and answers and find out those pivotal questions that everyone asks. Was that enough build-up for you, Dom?
Yeah, I'm just wondering who you were about to introduce, because that didn't sound like me at all.
Don't throw up a stinker. Don't throw up a giant.
Oh, dear me. I have two things, actually. One, it'd be an interesting one, because my son has been asking me about it a lot, so therefore it's a big topical question. But really quickly on the international games, obviously it's back this week in London. We've got the Mexico game was last year, and I think there's one this year, is there? I'm going to go over yes. You're looking at me.
I'm actually looking at. I'm trying to look it up. But I think there is one.
But there's also this week. I think as we're recording this on the Monday, I think it's tomorrow. There's a shortlist for the host German city is going to be announced. It'd be 3 teams. I think this is the logical next step, is that you see more expansion. I think it is good for the game, but I wonder what your views are on the 17th game, right? The home team. It doesn't have to be the 17th game, but the home team, obviously, every year the NFC will play a home game extra, or the AFC will play a home game extra. Whether those NFC/AFC teams are forced to play one of their home games, their extra home games, if you like, as an international game to try and grow the game that way, and you just see it expanded either elsewhere. We'll see more games in London, Germany, Mexico, whether we'll see more of that, and what your views are on that. Because I think, like I say, I think there was a buzz around the UK this week in the NFL community to see the games, and I think it's good for the league.
I think that every 17th game for every team should be played someplace else. I'm actually abdicating that they play in my backyard. I
mean, it is quite big, but I'm not quite sure your lawn will cope with that many people walking across it.
I mean, you're trying to grow the game, and I understand it. I think there's already a hindrance with one team getting an extra home game, especially if it comes down to some playoff implications. I think that it's. And I think making teams travel overseas for that 17th game is another hurdle that they are going to have to get through, because you're traveling overseas. It's not like you're traveling to, Des Moines, Iowa. You're traveling somewhere. You're traveling to Frankfurt. You're traveling maybe to Amsterdam. I don't know, but I'm just throwing it out there. So it's not like you are making a trip, within the continent. So I also don't think it's fair at times to send teams overseas, and especially for that 17th game. And I understand you're trying to build.
It doesn't have to be the 17th game.
I know, but I'm just saying in general. I would think that for fairness, that they need to come up with a system for the 17th game for both teams. And I know it's going to be alternating years, and I get that.
And it's going to be 18 games soon enough.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, and that's exactly what I was just about to get into. And I would say within the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to be 18 games, and none of this is going to matter. But I think there just has to be some fairness. I do think it's a good way to grow the game, but the problem is sending teams overseas, especially during a COVID era, you're asking for trouble. And I would hate for a team to be on a flight, and they're always usually chartered private flights, but I would still hate for a team to be on a flight with someone they don't know has the virus, and the next thing you know, out of the 53 guys, 43 of them have it. And then they're forfeiting other games. I think there's just too much potential for disaster to have multiple games overseas. I don't mind like 2-3 games, but I just don't want to see an entire team, sort of like Pittsburgh last year, be taken out, because of the virus or something similar. I think
there's equal danger of traveling internally within the US. And I think the other argument, I know that you made it really well, is that, it's not that much different London to New York, to West Coast, California. Yeah, no, I think the difference, though, is if you're a California team traveling to London, that is a heck of a flight.
That's a heck of a flight. If you're a Midwest team traveling, that's a heck of a flight.
Yeah, imagine connecting flights as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you have to connect. You're going to have to connect into New York.
Yeah.
So if you're going in from Kansas,
so I agree. I think there are challenges, but I don't think they're insurmountable. But it might be one way.
I just think it's an unfair advantage for teams, especially for teams that are already trying to make the playoffs. I think for some teams it may be an unfair advantage. I mean, first of all, you have that extra home game. And I don't know. I just think like I said, this is all going to be a moot point because we're going to go to 18 games.
Yeah, 100%. I know. I'm not quite sure why he didn't just go straight to it. I mean, I know why, but we all know it's coming. So why pretend it's not?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, for me, I like the international games. I couldn't get a ticket this year. Not that I'm complaining, but if you're listening, NFL, can I have one? But it is a good way to go to game. But what you do need to do is get the infrastructure to get kids playing it early and competitively. Right. If you're going to really see the expansion take off, and we talked about it before. But I won't dwell on that. But I good luck to those German cities on the shortlist tomorrow, which will be already done by the time they come out. And again, probably not listening, but it was fun. But here's my hypothetical for you for the season. Because my lad was asking about it. He supports the Seahawks for reasons that escape me. But his tummy today is telling him that he might want to support a different team. He's 6. And the Seahawks are not so great this year, which might have something to do with it. But, I was talking about Russell Wilson could be out for some time, and there's talks, that he becomes the Aaron Rodgers of next season, looking for that trade away. There's been talks about it before. What do you think I talked about it earlier with a different team. I'd love to tell you which team I was talking about, but I now can't remember because it's late. But the Seahawks, they have not been great this year. We said they probably wouldn't be. They were in need of some kind of refresh and they haven't really done it. What is the future for the Seahawks and Russell Wilson? They're talking about him coming to the Giants. I don't see it.
What's funny with Russell Wilson? He's not Aaron Rodgers. He is a guy that is kind of made like Rodgers, he's made his career in Seattle. And I don't think he's going to sit there and want to. I don't think he'll ever request a trade out of Seattle.
He's not going to do it in the same way.
No, and I don't think he'll ever do it. I really don't, because he's a different guy. Some guys are just built differently. Some guys are willing to put up with the crap and put up with the rebuild, and because of the city, because of their community, and because of what they put together. And I think Russell Wilson is that kind of guy. So I think unless the Seahawks and I think the Seahawks and Pete Carroll would come to him and say, listen, we're not going anywhere. Where do you want to go? And I think the team would approach him before he approached the team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. I think when he's made sort of noise before, the team has sort of said, what does it take to keep you here? And it's not necessarily been money. It's been, I'd like a new lineman or whatever. Right. They've gone out and tried to placate him, for want of a better word, and sort of work with him as opposed to against him. I think the question here for the Seahawks is, if you're looking to rebuild, do you trade Wilson willingly to try and get the picks to rebuild, or do you try and rebuild around Wilson? Because let's be honest, he's a really good quarterback and he's not exactly over the hill. No. What do you do? And I think that's an interesting question they may need to ask themselves in what is a very tough division.
Oh, I agree.
Pinnacle. What would you do? Would you trade him, or would you keep him?
I would keep him. I would honestly keep him, because I think Seattle's the type of organization who's been so good for so long. I think they're another type of team that could retool.
They've got enough pieces, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I think.
And it's a crapshoot going for your.
Why would you want to get
guarantee?
Why would you want to get rid of your
draft if we hit one?
Exactly. Why would you want to get away from that commodity? which is Russell Wilson, to go for an unknown.
Yeah, you're not in a Deshaun Watson, I don't want to play for Texans anymore, and therefore you have to take that chance. You know, they're not there yet. I'm inclined to agree with you. I think it would be exciting to see what they would do if they traded him.
It would be exciting, but like I said, I don't see it.
But if I'm a Seahawks, I'm not taking that risk. And if I'm a Seahawks fan, I'm crying if they take that risk.
Exactly. And I wouldn't even, like I said, I don't think it would ever happen. But that's a really good question. You know, you had two good questions today. I gotta give you the kudos. I don't know if it was my buildup that kind of spurred you to come with these ideas. But I am gonna take full credit for it.
I had one this week. I remembered. It's not like it happens every week.
You halfway wrote it down.
I did literally. Do you know what I said? International game, Germany this week. That is literally what it says in my 10 minutes of scribbles. Although I do slightly more now because I write down some stats from some of the games.
Well, you know what? I love it because my prep was coffee, piece of pumpkin roll, and turn on the microphone. That was my prep today.
Yeah, I jot down a few stats. That is
that's why you're the professional of the group.
I know, but you keep reading out the stats I actually have down.
It's called Google. You should look it up. It's really,
I know you can clearly Google quicker than I can.
It's called You know what I always tell people, because I can read. That's what I always tell people.
I didn't know that.
I know. I try to keep that quiet. I don't want people to think I'm full of myself being able to read.
I know. So. Look, you learn something new on every show, and that's what we've learned this week, people.
Did you ever see the movie Wayne's World?
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, when Wayne is giving the big speech to Cassandra, and it's supposed to be the Oscar speech, and at the end he's throwing the water in his eyes, and he goes, and I never learned how to read. And then she looks at him and she goes, is that all that's true? He goes, well, yes, everything but the reading part. So that's kind of what I think. Hey, it's the king of the almost sack.
He's the king of the almost catch.
Oh, almost catch. Evidently, I hit the wrong button.
Right. Just as well. And speaking of the king of the almost sack, I mean, I think he's forgotten what a sack is this year, which is not a surprise to anybody.
I think he can't find anything. Oh my God, I can't believe my soundboard got all screwed up. What happened there? And on that note, we are going to close it out because Tim and Dom have evidently gone crazy. It's late Dom's time, and I have no coffee. And again, this is Tim and Dom from NFL Talk from across the pond and back. Enjoying talking to you every week. Say goodnight, Dom.
Good night.